What did you take away from this earnings story? Because when we saw the initial lines crossing, the red headline crossing, Angelina, a little earlier on this morning, that looked like something that would send a stock down, recurring operating income declining versus 2023. What did you take away from the report?
Yes, indeed. That was a negative headline. I mean, we were expecting the sales at Gucci, the biggest label, to drop. They fell by 4%, which was slightly worse than expected. But indeed, they warned that profitability in 2024 is going to drop versus last year. As they invest in their biggest labels. The stock initially reacted positively. I think now it's about flat, and at some point it turned negative. But basically, I think the investors were sort of expecting it could be actually worse. So it's a wait and see. Let's see how the trading session goes.
Angelina, how long do they give the designer, Sabato De Sarno, the new designer that's coming in? How long does the market give him to kind of gain traction with this brand once again? The mood music seems to be that he wants to take it kind of up the exclusivity scale. Is that what we're going to see?
Yes, exactly. That's the strategy at Kering. He was named about a year ago. His first collection was unveiled in September in Milan. And actually, the products from that collection will only start to be in stores this month. So there's always a lag there. So investors have to be patient. And he reiterated today in the presentation to analyst François-Henri Pinault, the CEO of Kering, he reiterated Gucci is on an elevation strategy. The turnaround will not happen overnight. And part of that elevation strategy is try to emulate what some of his peers do. For instance, he mentioned, they plan to curb the availability of certain products. It's all about scarcity. Luxury, it's all about desirability. So I think he's going to be following, the playbook of some successful players there.
Angelina, talk to us about some of the other brands under Kering here. We're getting comments from the CFO that's pointing to a challenging year at Alexander McQueen, saying Balenciaga went to a tough year as well. Outside of Gucci, where does the growth come from?
Exactly. I mean, the growth, it's got some very, powerful brands, well-known brands. The second biggest brand is Yves Saint Laurent, which has been on elevation strategy. I mean, that's the name of the game for all the brands inside Kering. First of all, you want to control your distribution. So what they've been doing over the past few years is to rationalize the wholesale distribution. Basically, you only want to sell your products in your store because that means you can control pricing, you can control your image, and you're going to be doing what they say is, they call clienteling, basically engaging in a personal relationship between the salespeople and the customer. So that's very important. And then you've got another, very exclusive brand that's called Bottega Veneta and Balenciaga. Balenciaga has been in a tricky situation over the past 2 years because they had a big scandal at the end of 2022, and now they're recovering. So, but basically, I mean, all of these brands are facing as well a slowdown compared to the post-pandemic boom years. So demand is sort of normalizing there. So that's also the context.
Yeah. Clienteling. I didn't know there was a word for that, Angelina. I thought they just were coming to chat to me because, they fancy some conversation. But no, I was being played. Let me ask you about the rest of the sector then. You talk about how the story at Kering is going to be one of withholding some of the stock, and that sounds like Hermès. Tell us how the rest of the sector's doing.
I mean, the rest of the sector, we've seen it's a mixed bag. Burberry, we know that they're suffering. Again, they're an independent brand. Q4, the last quarter of last year was difficult for them. Richemont and LVMH are showing that they're resilient. They have some big mega brands. Richemont, you think about Cartier. At LVMH, you think about Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior. And they show they're resilient. There's still appetite for their brands. And tomorrow we're getting results from Hermès, and Hermès is generally considered to be the top of the top. When you talk about scarcity, desirability, Hermès, they're the experts at that. Basically, demand for their bags exceeds their output capacity.